We're doing this on a daily basis. And I recognize a bunch of folks, a bunch of you guys actually watch me on YouTube. Obviously, I know I'm not streaming at the same hours. Like sometimes it would come at like a very random time. But I see on YouTube we've got like almost like 100 views a video. So that makes me happy. I'm trying my best to share what it's like to build this stuff, and we're getting closer to our goals. Each day will be closer to the goal in concrete terms because we are about to go live. So you can check the transparency dashboard. If you've watched those videos or those streams from day one, you saw the evolution from very first days, in fact, and very first revenues. And our first revenue was, caveat, we haven't launched the app. If you try and get on the app today, it just won't work. Won't work for you. We have sold like, I should add the stat, the many things now that I want to add to this dashboard, but we've sold, I think eight challenges of 5,000. So the ones that cost $50, and in fact we gave access to a platform to our early testers, and I just gave out the link today, and just happy. They have a 25% discount, so the revenues that you see are discounted to like are the net revenue. They're not net because like for some they will be affiliates and referrals, but I hope that I'll be able to add this on this transparency board pretty soon. And this is in real time. The page actually says 15 minutes, but we query this in real time. Couple of things in terms of growth, what we will do. So, like next week we launch first. It's gonna be hell of a chaos, and I'm ready for it. I'm more than ready for this. We will target close to 100K in 30-day rolling revenue. There are multiple campaigns that will go on. Our number one metric is revenue, because you can take all of the other metrics, whether that is the number of affiliates, the number of free trial users, it all comes down to revenue at the end of the day for our business. So and you can tell from like the revenue figures and like where it comes from, whether that's affiliates or any other campaigns that you're running, that it's it's just the North Star metric. I don't really like North Star, but if I want to know if the business is doing well, I just basically look at this. We've made a prod release this morning. So if I go to app.proper.xyz today, which is the main app, I now have, so we've updated this, a caveat. There's a bug that we're fixing at the moment. The bug is basically this equity chart is taking into account isolated margin, which should not be the case. So the formula here is equity is balance plus unrealized P&L plus isolated margin. All right, so now if you go to trade, what the fuck is this? Oh, okay, sorry. I had two tabs. If you go to, wait, do you see, which one do you see? Wait, you see this, right? Let me see one thing. We've added the status bar. So status for Hyperliquid, status for the system. So now when the system is done, you obviously see it. We've added the news tab. And you can filter it out based on the news types that you want. If you want the only finance stuff, you can go to, well, you have to untoggle some, well, and then you'll just get the ones that you want. We've also added an economic calendar. For that to know that we have PCE data in about an hour and 15 minutes. Hey, the chats. Hey, Ryan. We've added the PCE data, the economic calendar, and that's up live in prod. And I think it's a cool thing just to have this embedded on the terminal. What we're doing at the moment is finishing up the analytics page, which today looks very, very bad. Like if you go to analytics, it just doesn't look so good. And we will add a lot more granularity. I think it's going to be out today in beta, maybe in prod tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. So the mood at the moment is just preparing everything for the launch, and that means we've rephrased a bit our website, domain LP. Before it was bits more for an investor focus. Now it's about user focus. So you don't have the CTA we still have the Vault 1 sellouts. We'll take it out at some point. But now it's about converting users, and how long do you expect till full launch? The full launch is we'll be in beta, but reality is we'll never do a full, as in we'll be in beta and then V1, but nothing's really gonna change so much. But that's early next week. That's what we do. I know you've followed me, and I know what you do. I think there might be opportunities, but not for this first release. So we've made our pages a lot more customer focused. We've added tracking, and I can actually show you. I've added the tracking, so the data you see is only for. Basically, added the tracking 9 hours ago, and it's cool to see. Like for example, the visitors. We mainly have Europeans in terms of demographic for our user base. I'm happy to see we don't have a lot of farmers or anything, because that's really just not adding so much value. And that's basically stats. We've got 73% desktop, more people on the launchpad, transparency. Haven't been excited about anything for a while. Proper slick. Yeah, man. I'm just happy. I'm just happy that I'm putting every fucking thing I have into this. Not like financially. Like financially, I'm the main backer. But like it's okay for me. But like time-wise, man, this is just hell for a ride. Again, my thesis, and I actually wanted to do an article about this, but it's our philosophy, or I'm not sure how. Yeah, Ryan. No, I appreciate the support. I see you. I saw you on X, and just appreciate. I appreciate anyone that is paying close attention, and especially now, like I'm pretty confident in our plan, and we will get about like a good deal of revenue, and I think that's going to make some noise. And I pay attention specifically to the folks that were here on early days, and that it's funny. Like I have a lot of people that, even at my closest persons, I can't really cite the companies or anything, but they've never believed in this stuff, and they're like, you shouldn't do this stuff, and I just want to prove them wrong, and the energy I'm able to put into this is quite crazy. I won't be able to do another ride like this for so long though. It's pretty mental. So like for example, you see how now we're like tracking a few things like the start training, for example, which we're also tracking the scroll depth. So we know the bounce rate is 60%. So that tells you about the churn. You see the person's active. And you also have a view on the CTA click. So CTA click are start training there and there. We've made that section. I guess the point is, it's like this is user facing as much as possible, not so much investor facing. As we go live, obviously that banner is going to be replaced with like a launch type thing, and then a promo code. We will give out I think 20% off to anyone that signs up for the first week, and we won't give out, like we won't do this extensively in our history. That won't happen so much. The reason is we will operate more on the affiliate basis than, we know it's through affiliate that the traffic is going to come first hand. So that's what we've done on the terminal. We're making updates to the analytics. Should be coming out today. Leaderboard as well. Few changes. FAQ, we're adding a few questions, like a few. We're basically not ready for it just yet. FAQ is still missing a few things. What we're also adding. Yeah, right. I reach out someday. I think after launch, once I digest everything, and I'm honestly just laser focused on a few things I need to do, and I have to do them right. There are a few things I can't discuss so much about growth because there is one element in particular that's going to be a big growth lever. I'd be able to discuss it as this goes live, maybe, I think, in the next 2 weeks. Not now. It's just not in my interest. I know now a lot of people in the platform industry are watching some of the stuff that we do, and that thing in particular requires us to have just a bit of secrecy for the first two weeks or so. We'll have to make some changes to the payout page because we'll effectively start to have payouts as early as, like, basically these users that, they'll have to. We'll have to get payouts to them. Not all of them will pass the challenge. You have the stats actually of, well, now we have 0% on 5K because, Mike Prox, thanks for the revenue. Well, we have like $300 of revenue, but we'll, I believe that, when I stepped into this industry, as like, I'm only here to win. I'm not here for second place. And I'm here to win, like, TradFi wise. I'm not here to win crypto wise. Crypto is just so small. I don't really care. But I think there is genuinely a place for the company here to win. And I think if the product is good, then things will fall into place. And I'm happy to see, and I will share a few things here, but I think I've shared that yesterday, but it really means really means the world when I see folks talking about us in a good way. Obviously, I don't expect everyone to talk to mention nice things, but for example, we had Mark, a guy that was very skeptical, and turned him into. And I'm sorry, I don't have the authorization of Mark to share this. I guess it's public data. But that's what he said on Proper has built something truly impressive, best user experience of any prop firm I've ever used with a great user dashboard. Skeptical at first, but I'm converted, and that is generally, I'm generally happy to see stuff like this. These are early wins, but when you build something new, like you're basically bound to fail. Your base assumption is that things won't work out, and you're basically fighting. It's like you're basically fighting against gravity, and your gravity is it not working out, and you're fighting against that force, and every bit of hope is a step forward. And every day I have rejections. Like, for example, I would pitch to a VC, and the VC would tell me, "Hey, that's never gonna work out." Or I talk to someone and I'm like, "Hey, the product isn't good," or like, "Hey, you've got so much more to learn," and I'm like, and that's every day, or a few times a day, but sometimes you just have to find your own way, and then that things will work out. When I did attempt to raise in the early days, people were adapting a lot, like, and for good reasons, but now they're coming back to me and like, "Hey, so you guys sold out, like, can I get an allocation or something?" And I've actually done this with Xbox, so I'm familiar with this, but it's just always funny. The only thing I can say about growth is there will be some competitions at a fairly large scale pretty soon with some cool people. And yeah, it's gonna be great. There's gonna be some great stuff that we will do. So at this point, we're in the starting blocks. I'm making sure the first users are happy, and I do my best so they are happy. What we are adding is something I actually need to add just after this, but today on the app, if you go to app.proper.xyz, you see I have a free trial, which I haven't started actually, just too locked in, but we have this feedback widget, and if you're a paid user, I'll make it so that that escalates to me directly. So every feedback gets streamed to Discord, but the prod feedback, like if you report a bug, that goes straight to my Slack, and that pings me on Slack actually. So I'm definitely more on Slack than Discord. Slack is where we have the team, but I make sure to just have basically just not sleep until things are fixed, and just generally try my best to do it. We're not covering markets here, so the comment. Yeah, right on the way we reward people, we have we'll have this point system. I'm not like fans of points. We'll try and do things a bit differently. I like points. I tell you what, I like points for one reason. It's that you're able to quantify. Well, I can show you the current duration of points, but just the points are interesting because you're able to quantify. It depends on how you build your point system, but at the end, like infinite, it's number of points should be a rank of how valuable a user is to you. So you break down things that are very subjective to like one metric, and that's the how valuable it is to our system. And that's why I like it now. What we'll do is we'll give back 10% of the platform revenue up to TGE to the top 100 people every week on the leaderboard. And that's basically how we give back early on. The thesis for Proper is that like the vision is we want to be able to fund anything. Basically, if someone claims to be good, we want to be able to provide him or her with the capital. And that's what we are working towards. But we understand in the current era, every product can be rebuilt. Our product is generally cool, but we've built this in a quarter, and really built it. I would say really built it hard in the last 6 weeks. And it took us like 8 weeks to build a product. It's obviously not something you can vibe code. Like we've basically rebuilt an exchange like from scratch. Well, an exchange service, we haven't rebuilt everything, but like the price oracle, etc. But we've built, I guess, a pretty big system. I contributed a tiny bit to it. James did a crazy work on this. But the view is that we should give back to the users, and users will get 10% cash back, and it's gonna be the pro leaderboard. So the way it's gonna go is from next week onwards, we go ahead and start the distribution of so-called points. Really concretely, how it works is we have criterias. It's mainly derived around the economic value of a user and the activity of a user on the platform. Basically what matters to us in the early days. People that give feedback, stuff like this. When we say you should give feedback on the platform and why I put a lot of efforts into the communities because I want them to be rewarded. So we see everything that users do on the platform, obviously, but we'll be able to check any. These are not things that you see necessarily, but every time someone makes a feedback, at the end of the day, I look at it and I classify it on is it useful? If someone has feedback tells me the app is cool, sure, great feedback, but that's not very valuable. And there's a scale system, and then I run an insane query, so SQL query against our database, and that tells me, okay, this user has that many points. And then we hook this up to the front end, and then on the front end you'll see that's how many points you have. No, MeProx will. I'm not sure exactly how this is gonna go, but I think we'll have a sort of Genesis distribution. It's not gonna be on day one that we'll have the Genesis distribution. We have to put more work into it. Basically, all the efforts so far how do we reward people through like a Genesis distribution. And so far we haven't had any economic value, as in we only made like 300 something bucks, so that means we haven't generated much value. But the people that gave feedback, if you're not on the Discord, I suggest you join the Discord. It's still a very small Discord. Still a very small Discord. Things will grow pretty quickly. But we have this alpha testers channel where I communicate quite frequently, and also things like build in public. I guess every video gets streamed here, but for example, what we showed on the system status, what we showed in the early part of the stream, the video that I've put out, everything is just getting streamed. The news, the calendar, you can see everything that's shaping up. And the people that give feedback here, that's I think that is for everyone to see. But the reason why we're asking for the user ID is because there will be rewards at some point. And yeah, we'll if you guys know me from my past, you probably know that I put a lot of focus on community. Like truly, it truly is. The community is a focus of mine for this project, and as long as in crypto, I think the people is what matters. It's also why I really wanted to have this first vault with the community, so the community has a chance. A lot of people took me out of this, but I don't know, I'm just confident about this, and there's a world in which that doesn't work, and the only thing I'd be able to say is I'm like, sorry, I did my best, but I wanted this. If this is successful, that's like a billion type opportunity, and if someone could get in and make like 50x, I'm just happy. One last thing that I'm going to show, and sorry, this stream was so unorganized, is a new thing, and that's markets. Markets are our next step. If I repeat myself from episodes to episodes because I understand that some are just watching this new episode and don't have context, or this current episode. But what we're doing today is we're built on top of Hyperliquid for the perps, but the thesis that we have is you can get funded on anything. I'll put my VC pitch on YouTube. The pitch that we dropped on X was before the platform launched. Now that we've launched and now that we have revenue, and I'll publish it next week because we'll have a lot more revenue. And so you see the narrative I push forward, which is exactly what I'm going to say, what I'm saying to VCs. So the markets, we have 3 target markets at the moment. One is perps, so perpetual futures, covering both equity, commodity, and crypto, and FX and indexes. But we have 2 other markets in sight. One is spot on-chain trading. Not necessarily just Solana. Solana is obviously a big market, but some other chains like BNB, for example, or like this other market is built in a way that's pretty agile, like adding Base, like adding both EVM and SVM support. the reason for it is I've been in crypto long enough to know that I was trading meme coins before everyone else on Uniswap in 2021, and those were the good meme coin days. Like it was when it was like hard to deploy a contract, and like I was a big SHIB holder at the time, and those were great days, like the early BNB days, even some KCC, the KuCoin community chain. That was really, that was. Anyway, my point here is that we're adding support for spot assets across chain. So it's the ability to have Solana. I had a call with the team behind Arbitrum. How are they called again? Something Labs. Sorry for them, but I just don't remember their name. It's a great team though, and we're adding support for BNB and stuff, Hype EVM, stuff like this. And then prediction markets is it's not going to be a priority. Priority is definitely spot trading in the first place, and then prediction markets, or else like binary options. That's what HIP4 allows, and that's what prediction markets are inherently. Maybe towards end of the year, it really depends on the growth and the capital that we're able to raise. And yeah, I would say, if you want to have a look at the roadmap, and we can have a look, by the way, at the roadmap. I'm curious to see. I don't think this is on there, actually. So what we did not do in the phase 1 is this stuff, trading competition. Closed beta, it's actually not going to be a closed beta. It's going to be more than this. That's done. Crypto payments, that's not done. We will add, in fact, a custom provider. Well, We'll have a custom implementation for USDC on Solana next week, towards end of next week. AB bulky algorithm is done. Affiliate program is done. Trading competition, it's going to be a different format. That's the thing I can't chat so much about. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks you'll have more context. Public platform launch, we don't phrase it like this anymore. Trading terminal, multi-language support, that's done. Advanced trading analytics, that's not really done. Like it's, if you guys know folks at MMT, these guys aren't replying to me, so that's the thing. But we're actually quite ahead of this. I'm happy to see it. But the reality is, how I manage the business is not. I don't look at the roadmap and like I have to follow this every day. I put the business back at day one, essentially, and it's my red line, but I'm not following it so much, just based on, for example, what we discussed about something yesterday with the team, and that's what I discussed, like the growth item we have, and I just said, okay, we go ahead and we've implemented the tag this morning, and then we go ahead with the outreach now, and things just move fast, really quick. Anyway, that's been a long stream. I have to move through doing some stuff, and yeah.